Hi friends! So today we want to continue on with our marriage series and address some of the questions that we've been asked as far as preparing, taking the next step towards marriage. So the next one up is what to look for in a potential spouse. So
don't want to make the same mistake I did.
Yeah, let me just tell you all the things not to look for. Okay. But no, for real, I do think that there's some common fallacies or things that people, they set themselves up for disappointment, right, when they're entering a relationship. And that's when they're looking for someone to complete them. Somebody who's going to be, that person gives them purpose or a sense of identity or belonging or, that person that they sort of idolize and then put all their hopes and dreams onto that person, right? It's definitely not a good start to a relationship.
Yeah, like from a guy perspective, because we were talking about that recently with someone as well.
Yeah.
But basically, for guys, we'll struggle with like sexual stuff, lust, and everything, and then they take that passage like, oh, burn with passion means my uncontrollable lust. Let's invite a girl into this to fix it.
Yeah.
Not accurate translation, or not accurate exposition, and then also.
So why don't we take a little detour there for a second? So, what is that referring to?
Well, one is it's betrothed, right? Because he's talking to a context of we're talking about being married or unmarried, right? And that's actually a process. And so we also assume in Paul's letters, right, that you treat your Christian sister as a sister, but then as you grow closer, like in your covenant community, that starts to change, right? It begins to transform, right? And that's why a gradual thing as far as how that happens is good, right? Not the instantaneous, like boom, like you see the one across the hall and you automatically know that that's when you're married.
Love at first sight.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I didn't look at your picture when we were talking online for like a long time. Not that I knew this point, like by God's providence, it helped.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's speaking specifically to people who are betrothed, so they've reached that point in a relationship where there's commitment to each other.
Yeah.
And then he's saying...
And he's like, I wish you were like me because then you wouldn't have the cares of the world.
Okay.
But if you burn with passion, then do this, right? Because he wouldn't say do anything out of faith. And if you were to marry because of sexual lust, you wouldn't be marrying in faith, right? Do everything in faith, right? So
that burning with passion isn't referring to a lustful passion, it's referring to
a godly one.
Yeah. Then, if you're looking for this relationship, right, and a covenant with this person, what should you be looking for? So you don't want the person who is just going to gratify your lusts, okay? And that can go both ways, guys and girls. I think for women, it's the knight in shining armor trope, is an easy one to fall into. The guy that's going to come sweep you off your feet, rescue you from all your problems, save you from yourself. There's a whole spectrum there of what that can look like. But what would you encourage a guy to look for?
Yeah, this is baseline assumption is Christian, right? And baseline assumption of Christian is not based off of just words. I say that because my first thing has to do with words, but it's what you've seen, right? Have they gained your trust? Like, trust isn't something you give out freely. Going back to like a really old definition of trust is it's a judgment based off of past performance, right? So you've seen that is a trustworthy person, that their confession is trustworthy, right? This is important. This isn't about church membership for Presbyterian. This is about joining into a covenant with a mutually consenting adult. So they're Christian. Can they talk the talk? Right? Are you in the same wheelhouse of thinking about God? Right? Because if they're completely foreign to where you're at theologically and stuff like that, it's going to be super hard to communicate because there's a bunch of short terms, like, you know, shorthand, right? Or they're unwilling to learn that, right?
Yeah.
I think is like the biggest one to follow along in picking up the Christian vocabulary that you gain from your training and different things. So I think that's the first one. The second one would be actual theology, not just their lingo.
Yeah, so they're practical.
Yeah. So
their thinking, their actions.
Yeah. So speaking, actions, and then also theoretical, right?
Yeah.
Those things matter because the actions are always driven by ideas, right? Ideas have consequences. So I think it'd be important that you are able to identify like where they're at, like that has propelled or caused all those actions you found attractive. Maybe another one too is that you actually find the person attractive, right? I don't think you should marry someone that you think is ugly or not beautiful or whatever, you know? Because the thing is, that makes hard what actually comes true, which is when you marry a girl, she becomes the objective standard of beauty for you, right? And if you already find that not beautiful, that's going to be a very hard thing that you as a faithful husband need to do, right? So,
and I just add there that I think it's good to pray that you find those qualities, their speech, their actions, right, and their thinking attractive, because I think God can help you, you know, especially because society places such an emphasis on certain qualities as being attractive, that when you find maybe a more plain or simple outward beauty, but that's cloaked with godly thought, godly speech, godly action, right? That actually enhances that person's beauty for you. And I think God can do that. The Holy Spirit can help you. I just know guys that will bypass girls who are pretty, who have a lot of great qualities, right? Because their view of beauty's been so distorted, right?
Yeah.
Pornography and things like that. So, yeah, just asking God to. That might be a step in there, is changing your view of attractiveness too. And then I think for girls, looking for someone who can lead you and help you grow, like all those same things, but are they actually going to be someone who can grow you with where you're at? So I would add to the thinking, acting, and speaking, feeling. And it doesn't mean that he's going to feel all the things you feel, but is he the kind of man who is attentive to your feelings and realizes that he's going to need to understand where you're at in order to lead you and help you mature, right? Because for a lot of women, feelings are such a driving factor in our growth. Doesn't mean that we're controlled by them,
but they're kind of what leads your exploration into a topic or idea or thing.
And can be such a hindrance to us too. So
yes, it is. And that's as someone who didn't know how to do that for a long time. So. Better to start as a guy and as a girl recognize whether they can or not, because it's gonna inevitably be turbulent.
Because there was a point, I think, where the feelings were overwhelming to you, and so you just shut down, and then ended up shutting me out because of that. And and then I think with the actions, going back to that piece of it, is finding someone who has the same mission and heart for things that you do. So in their actions, in their, you know, way that they conduct themselves, also be looking, what are they working towards? You know, so you know, if you have a drive for hospitality, but this other person, you know, almost like prides themselves in their introversion and the fact that they don't need anybody else, right? That may not be a good spouse for you because you're not going to have the same goals as a Christian couple. Right?
Or like, you can't handle incompetency. It's like, well, we're going to be showing hospitality to a lot of different kinds of people.
There's a lot of ways things that can counter that.
You know who you are.
So hope this was encouraging for you, and we can always pick this up with more specifics if that would be helpful. Another topic that we're going to address is how to find a spouse. So we'll probably try to tackle that one next.
Letter in a glass bottle.
There you go. Throw it out in the ocean and hope they find it.
No. Landfill.
Landfill.
That's where the real ladies are. Just kidding.